Hello AJ Club Sporters and welcome back to the channel. So today I wish to address a lot of questions that I received, and thank you very much for the engagement and for your messages on the various videos on the channel. And the point is, spend your money wisely. So for starters, if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button and notification bell so you can always stay updated weekly on what happens in the GR world. So before diving straight into the topic, I just wanted to give a honorable mention to Giandomenico Basso here in Italy, because he is driving the official Rally 2 GR Yaris from Toyota in the Italian Rally Championship, that is known to be the most difficult one in the world after the World Rally Championship, because they go through very technical, with very experienced drivers, technical stages against very experienced drivers, and they do everything. They get clean tarmac, old tarmac, they get very bad mud and dirt in Sardinia. I mean, they get it all. So first race was the Ciocco Rally in Tuscany. That is a very difficult rally, and the guy got second place overall. I mean, that is incredible. And for as much as the car has been tested in pre-development, the fact is that until each driver gets into a rally car for good, he cannot, let's say, take away that top 10-15% of performance. So I was really blown away by the performance of this. So yeah, Giandomenico Basso, my congratulations once more. You are great. I know the guy from the times where I was racing too in the Italian Rally Championship. So away from that, also Kalle Rovanperä, great with the WRC in the Safari Rally. So Gazoo Racing has got it still. It's been a couple of difficult races this year, but now I see they're back on the top spots, and I'm happy to see that. So let's now dive into the main topic of this video about what is the best way to spend your money. I get so many messages of people that are really literally throwing their money out of the window because they heard so, because it looks good, and because of the marketing bullshit and all of that. So you know my take on this, and it's very clear. So I will give you once more 2024 updated list of what is mandatory, in my advice, to transform your car at the least cost possible. Let's go for it. So first things first. Now, you know that there is no way that you can go fast in a car if the contact patch with the road isn't good. So first point is tires. So while the stock PS4S tires are very good, you will see a huge transformation if you go up one notch and go to Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. Obviously, this is not sponsored at all, so I pay for my tires 100%, and I can tell you that this is probably the only track-ready, road-going homologated tire that gives you the whole package. What does this mean? We're talking of daily used cars that you want to have fun with and occasionally go to the track and have more fun there. So with the Pilot Sport 2 Cup in continental Europe, you can drive this car all year, these tires all year, apart from the winter months, obviously. Let's say when the temperature is above 7 or 8 degrees, they're fine. And you can drive through rain without the tires wanting to kill you, both through aquaplaning and low grip, because this does not happen. The double compound they have and the double design help evacuate water, and they make such an improvement on how the car works. I installed them the first time last year, and I was testing out some other tires in the ultra high performance category before those, but there is no comparison, guys, really. And I have driven Believe me, all the tires going from full slicks to obviously rally tires of all tiers. Through my career, I have tested Nankan AR1s that are great when you are on the track or if you are on a rally road in a perfect day. But none of these tires will give you the full package, like just put them on the car and use it as if it's just a normal tire and have all the benefits. So this is the first element out of the room. So when your stock tires finish, go for Pilot Sport Cup 2s and let me know how happy you will be about that, I'm sure. So, two things. Number one, some of you lucky guys, for example in Spain, I got reports, are getting the GRs, Gen 1s, delivered with 235/4018 tires instead of 225. Lucky you guys. So this is your measure and just go for it. But they're also available in 225 because I have them on my car. So next step, the first important thing is not the looks. We are club sporters. We are not low riders, okay? So as big as your temptation will be to go and install immediately a coilover kit or IBAC or whatever brand lowering spring kits, just don't do it, man, because you're messing up your car completely. It will feel better to start with, less roll and everything, but when you aggressively drive the car, you will see you will get a lot of understeer. And why is that? Because these cars have a very, very narrow camber curve. And this means that like the suspension progresses through bump, this means both in bumps and rolling. So when you're going around the bend, what happens is you lose camber. Already, the stock cars, after about a year, go down by about 15 millimeters. Okay, this is a lot. 1.5 centimeters lower after using the car, let's say, quite hard after a year. I saw it on my own car. So what happens is, when you reach, after that, the 20 millimeter zone, every centimeter you go down, you are losing 0.2 degrees of camber. So if you go down other 5 centimeters, and you were starting off, let's say, with 1.5 degrees of camber, in the middle of a bend, you will find yourself with less than half a degree of camber because you lost 1 degree. And this is on stock suspension, and this is accentuated on coilover suspension because lowering the car even more will give you this amplified because you will be on the negative side of the curve because it's just the camber curve, so it's non-linear, and you will be losing more and more and more. So watch out and beware of lowering this car just as it is. If you go out there and buy whatever coilover suspension kit, even worse, the ones that are all very hard with hard springs, what will happen is you will have the wheels exerting a bigger force and moving because all the bushings are moving. So what to do? How to spend your hard-earned cash and have performance out of the box with no guesswork whatsoever. In the front end, install the Weborg control arms. These correct this camber issue and will enable you to run a correct amount of camber that in this car for the road is between 1.5 and 2.5 degrees. You do not need more, okay? And you will run a neutral toe. And this is the front sorted. Just forget about it. On stock dampers, on stock springs, it will be fine. At that point, if you want, you can install coilovers or lowering springs and see a benefit from them for real. But we will discuss coilovers in a minute. Now, the rear. The rear has got a different characteristic because it's a 5-arm trailing arm suspension system, and therefore it does not have a very, very big issue of gaining or losing camber and or of bump steer. So the rear is a very good scheme, but you gotta nail it, you gotta get it right. And first thing, once again, is to take away bushing compliance that on this car is a lot. So what you need is to install some ball bearing inserts on the trailing arms. You need camber arms and you need toe arms. These must be adjustable, both of them, and they already come with spherical bearings. I can buy all three these components from either Workline or Cusco. It's fine. I would steer away from other brands because the quality is, I saw some arm snap and I would not cheap out on the suspension arms. But I can tell you that it's not a very small investment, but if you change all the arms on stock suspension, I was doing this test just 2 weeks ago on my own car. On the stock suspension, the difference is incredible. Incredible. There is no comparison. You're like, what? I don't believe it. Yeah, the car will drive that much better. In the rear, please do not exceed 2 degrees of camber because it's not needed, because you won't lose or gain the camber going up and down, and the rear wheels still need traction. But once you have taken away all the bushing compliance, maybe you could open the toe a little bit, and even more than a little bit, but I cannot give you everything today in one go. Now, you have done this. Enjoy your car. Take some months, take some time, and see how it is. And if you need it, only if you really need it, then you can buy coilovers. And for the street, this revision 2 of the Boss Suspension coilovers is incredible, the street version. Probably a higher version is coming now. We are discussing how to make it and the price bracket. I'll let you know about this, but the road version in this new evolution is incredibly well sorted. We worked very well with Boss, and I'm super happy about it, and it makes an impressive difference to the car. So, moving over, if you use your car on the road but go a lot on the track, this means I'm just going back and forth from my garage to the track, and that's all, so comfort is not an issue, then you can consider other kits. For example, the MCA Reds from our friends at Weborg, or other kits like KW Clubsport with TUV and all of that. Still bear in mind, when buying a coilover suspension, the TUV certificate is not the only thing. You can ask the producer to give you a certificate of conformity. With that, you can go and pass TUV, and for sure you can pass the revisions in Spain, Portugal, and countries like that. For example, France. So, not a big issue. In Italy, it's much easier because there's a law for which you can exchange suspension parts and brake parts with replaceable standard parts, and therefore you can use any producer's parts, although they install in the car correctly. So this is not the point. Now, say you got your coilovers. Even if you've already done the Weborg arms, and so your camber curve is okay and everything, lowering the car the most possible is not always the best option, and almost never it is. Why? Because the more you lower the car, the more you get close to the end of bump travel. So once more, we are club sporters, we're driving the car on the road, roads have potholes, especially if you're going to go fast on the roads, you're going to find potholes in the moments you don't expect them, and that's going to be a problem. So you want to leave some centimeters, possibly a minimum of 4 to 5 centimeters, both front and rear, before engaging the bump stop. This is a good rule of thumb, and then you can test and try on your specific application. But please don't slam your car, because what for? There is no need. So this is the suspension covered, and in this way you have spent your money in a wise way. And mind you, you may not even need the coilovers, okay? So, because you really have to be a very strong driver before you can actually outdrive the setup with all the arms and uniballs I talked about before. You want to change the longitudinal gearbox mount. You can get that from a variety of suppliers, and this will help with the gear engagement. Aero updates. You absolutely want, both on a Gen 1 and Gen 2, the TRD splitter kit. On the Gen 1, it makes a huge difference to the car, especially when you're going through bends above 160 kilometers per hour. You can feel it a lot, even a bit slower, but you can feel it a lot at high speeds. And I've tried it and very happy about this. And another thing you need is the hood vents. We make these only for the channel subscribers. You can have the WRC1 version or the Rally 2 version that now are performing very well. We've got very many of them out there, and they're more cost effective and they're more robust for, let's say, if something falls on the car or whatever happens, they're very robust, almost indestructible parts, and cost less to build, and therefore they cost less. And another thing on this, unfortunately, I must tell you, beware of scam. As everybody that inquired about these vents knows, I sent them the instructions, or they have already received them, but I'm talking to who hasn't. We have put an enormous amount of research and development, not only in designing them, but also with the manufacturer to get the highest quality possible. And I've got so many thank yous from everybody that has installed them because of the high quality of construction. And I'm not only talking of the beautiful finishing they have as aesthetics, but I'm talking of the functionality of them. So, and rigid structural rigidity and material and UV coating and all of that. Beware of scam. There is a guy here in Italy that has been taking my help for the last 4 or 5 months through reserved information to develop a rear wing for the GR Yaris, a Rally 2 version. And he always was asking for these vents, but he didn't want to pay for them and what have you. And in the end, it came out that he was trying to get my vents to copy them. And I've got reports that now he is trying to get the direct reports that he's trying to make his own, but it's a knockoff. This Rally 2 rear wing he is doing is a knockoff because the attachment points and the design of the wing itself just doesn't work out the way it should. And also the fact is that his hood vents cannot work because he does not have enough engineering background and will not be able to spend the budget we did with the producer to get this right. So watch out for that, because scam vents are coming to the market and they are scam. They are not what you want, because we never had one vent fail of any version with anyone in the world, including my own that are for more than 2 years on the car. So let's close aero updates, and these make a huge difference, both to aero and cooling, because the stock car has got huge front end lift. The Gen 2 a bit less, but it's still there and it's a lot. Okay, so weight reduction. Once again, you're a club sporter, you're not a full race car and everything, so my suggestion is keep it stock. This car is very well weight optimized, really. I've taken it apart, so I know. I weighed the individual parts. I've showed you in other videos how much they weigh. And I can tell you, only 2 mods have got a true sense in them. One is the best, my advice, carefree, 0 problems, a good quality lithium battery. This will enable you to take away 15 or 16 kilograms from the rear with no adverse issues. Actually, they work better in time than the stock unit. So these last years and years. Stock battery will last 2 or 3 years depending on how much you use the car. So this is a very good thing. Second is you can take away the rear seats. This is 30 kilos less. But once again, you're losing functionality. When you're not racing the car, when you're not going fast, you cannot bring your kids or your family or your friends. So this is a bit of a trade-off. But 30 kilos, I can tell you, they are noticeable in the car. Let's add some weight with something that is very important: strut braces. The rear one has the biggest impact you can feel driving, especially on Gen 1s that have a less reinforced chassis than the Gen 2 2024 version. So do get yourself at least a rear strut brace, but my suggestion is to get them both together. These were envisioned and designed into the car, so you need to put them on if you're wearing stickier tires and you're going fast in this car, especially on ball joint suspensions. Okay, this is very important. About the engine, you're all gonna hate me about this, but if you have got 400 horsepower and you don't have the mods I described above, you will not manage to use those 400 horsepower, okay? If you have all the mods above, in this case, you will be able to use the power. Well, my advice, since it's not in conflict with anything else, is now that we have good mapping with Ecotec, now that the platform is known, now that everybody is having, these big fears also of breaking the car, it's not true. This engine is not made of paper. It's a very, very good engine, even the Gen 1. But many people have messed it up in a bad way. So my advice is, step 1, get yourself an HJS or comparable cat, taking away the original catalyzer but maintaining the TUV or whatever certification for the environment, and eliminate the OPF filter. You do not need a back box at these power levels up to 350 horsepower, more or less, okay? You can put a back box on for your pleasure, but once again, I'm telling you how to get the best package with the least amount of money, because otherwise, let's just go to the dealership and buy a 992 GT3 RS and no problem, it's done. I got the perfect Clubsporter. Not so comfortable, but bloody fast. So this is what I would do. And with an Ecotec map, a panel filter, and this, probably you will find yourself around 320 horsepower, maybe 325 real horsepower. And with the mods above, this car will be ballistic. At that point, I would change my brake pads when I finished them and install some EBC RP1s or comparable like the Endless MX72 Plus, and it will be more than enough for any use. If you're seeing too much heat, you can head to Import Racing or where you want for some heating solutions. You can invert the front discs to get the right directional vanes going in the right direction for maximum cooling if you're not in very cold weather, and you will have no issues with your brakes. Obviously, brake lines, brake fluid, brake shims, but once again, they're all very small things. You do not need to upgrade to a big brake kit, because that means you would have to do both front and rear. So that sets you back of what, 8,000-9,000 euro for what? Does it have to be a GR of 100,000 euros to have fun? Okay, it doesn't. Last thing about the engine. I was saying the engine is not made of paper. It isn't. And also, mind that all the people that are tuning your cars or working on your car, not all of them, but I mean, yeah, in the end, all of them are making money out of this. This is their job. So the fact is, like they do in electronics, you gotta have in mind the specifications of what you want to meet. This is not like the suspension or chassis that you can do one piece at a time and you have a plan. And no, the engine is different. So until you are within stage 1 and stage 2, it's okay. But you are going no further than that with a Gen 1 on a safe engine. But this does not mean by any means that you need, for example, a closed deck block, because you're not shooting for 500 or 600 horsepower. You just don't need it. I'm seeing people that have even broken engines that went to closed blocks, having blocks sent from Australia that are beautiful parts, but I'm saying it makes no sense spending like 4,000 or 5,000 euros on 3 pistons and 3 conrods of God knows if they're so high quality as they say, because I've also seen products from the same company not so high quality on Volkswagens, talking to other engine builders. For what? To use the car at 350 or 400 horsepower without rally bang on it? That maybe can be the more demanding thing. So my advice is go to a good tuner. Stay within the 330, 340 bracket and have the car handle well. You have spent so much less money and you have a safe car. Then, with a Gen 1, when you start to reach 50 or 60,000 kilometers on this setup with this level of power, treating the car well with the right oils, we've discussed all of this already, then maybe you will want to forge your engine just to future-proof it, you know. But also another thing is, many people don't tell you that in general, forged engines are harsher on the engine block. I mean, forged pistons. Therefore, also this triggers more consumption in the engine. So it's not always linear and a win-win. But after 50 or 60,000 kilometers with a tuned Yaris Gen 1 engine, I would forge it, okay? But at that power level, no problem. If you forge it, have in mind what target of power you want to achieve in the future, because maybe you will not need 4,000 or 5,000 euro components plus all the expenditure to go and open the engine and put them in from somebody hopefully professional, because that's another point. Cams, valves, retainers, this is all needed, all very good to make a good package. But if you're pushing it with a hybrid turbo and all that, forge the engine, okay? Do that immediately. But if you're staying under the changed turbo, hybridized turbo, you'll be okay. Just take good care of the engine in time and then replace it before you feel it's getting tired, because it's very difficult to understand when your piston rings are really getting tired. So I will still replace it before. I am sure that if you take a stock GR Yaris and get all the mods I talked about, the chassis, the tires, the brakes and everything, and keep it stock, you will be faster on a track or on a rally road than a guy with a stage 2 car that has got a stock chassis or maybe on some kinky coilover kit that is put together just like that. So this is my 2% weekly update. Let me know in the comments if you would like to know something more, something different. I will try to dig it and work on it and get back to you. And by the way, from the next video I should have improved audio, so I hope this will help increase the enjoyment and understanding of this. So thank you very much once more and have a good day. Bye.